What happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? When the most feared predator in the ancient world suddenly finds itself facing an even greater force. This is the heart of one of the Bible's most dramatic prophecies, found in the book of Nahum. Picture the ancient Near East around 650 BCE. The Assyrian Empire dominates everything from Egypt to Babylon. Their capital, Nineveh, stands as one of the world's greatest cities, protected by massive walls and filled with the spoils of countless conquered nations. The Assyrians are ruthless conquerors, known for their brutal warfare and merciless treatment of enemies. They've already destroyed the northern kingdom of Israel and carried its people into exile. Now they threaten Judah. But in this moment of apparent Assyrian triumph, God raises up a prophet named Nahum. His name means comfort or consolation. And that's exactly what his message brings to God's oppressed people. Nahum doesn't prophesy to Nineveh directly like Jonah did a century earlier. Instead, he delivers God's message about Nineveh to the people of Judah, assuring them that their oppressors' days are numbered. Nahum opens his prophecy with one of Scripture's most powerful descriptions of God's character. The Lord is a jealous and avenging God. The Lord takes vengeance and is filled with wrath. The Lord takes vengeance on his foes and vents his wrath against his enemies, from Nahum chapter 1, verse 2. This isn't the gentle shepherd imagery we often associate with God. This is God as the divine warrior, the ultimate judge of nations. Then comes the lion imagery that makes Nahum's prophecy so vivid and memorable. In chapter 2, verse 11, Nahum asks, "Where now is the lion's den, the place where they fed their young, where the lion and lioness went, and the cubs with nothing to fear?" He's talking about Nineveh, comparing it to a lion's den filled with prey. The lion metaphor is brilliantly chosen. Lions were the symbol of Assyrian royal power. Assyrian palaces were decorated with lion reliefs and sculptures. Kings hunted lions to demonstrate their strength. The lion represented everything the Assyrians believed about themselves. Fierce, dominant, unstoppable predators at the top of the food chain. But Nahum turns this imagery on its head. Yes, Assyria has been like a pride of lions, hunting and devouring nations. Nahum 2:12 describes how the lion killed enough for his cubs and strangled the prey for his mate, filling his lairs with the kill and his dens with the prey. This perfectly captures Assyria's method of conquest, gathering wealth and captives to fill their cities. However, there's a greater lion in this story. God himself takes on the characteristics of the ultimate predator. But his hunting has a completely different purpose. While earthly lions hunt for survival and dominance, God hunts for justice and protection of the innocent. Nahum 2:13 delivers God's judgment. "I am against you," declares the Lord Almighty. "I will burn up your chariots in smoke, and the sword will devour your young lions. I will leave you no prey on the earth. The voices of your messengers will no longer be heard. The great lion of Assyria will be destroyed by the lion of Judah." This isn't just poetic language. Nahum is describing real military defeat. The chariots represent Assyria's advanced warfare technology. The young lions are their warriors and princes. The prey represents their conquered territories and tribute. God promises to strip away everything that made Assyria powerful. The lion metaphor reveals something profound about God's character. When we think of lions, we think of raw power, fierce protection of their territory, and relentless pursuit of threats to their pride. This is exactly how God responds to those who harm his people. His judgment isn't arbitrary or cruel. It's the protective response of one who fiercely guards those under his care. Consider how a lioness responds when her cubs are threatened. She doesn't negotiate or show mercy to the threat. She attacks with overwhelming force until the danger is eliminated. This is the picture Nahum paints of God's response to Assyria's oppression of his people. The historical fulfillment of this prophecy is remarkable. Around 612 BCE, just decades after Nahum's prophecy, a coalition of Babylonians and Medes besieged Nineveh. The great city fell so completely that its exact location was lost for centuries. Archaeologists only rediscovered it in the 1800s. The empire that seemed invincible vanished from history. But there's more to this lion imagery than just judgment on enemies. It also reveals God's protective nature toward His people. Throughout Scripture, God is portrayed as both the Lion of Judah and the Good Shepherd. These aren't contradictory images, they're complementary. A good shepherd must sometimes become a fierce lion to protect the flock from predators. This dual nature of God appears throughout the Bible. He's gentle with the broken and hurting, but fierce against those who would harm the innocent. He's patient with the repentant, but implacable toward the persistently wicked. The same strength that comforts believers terrifies their enemies. Nahum's lion teaches us that God's judgment serves His mercy. His wrath against oppressors is an expression of His love for the oppressed. When human systems fail to protect the innocent, when earthly powers abuse their authority, God Himself steps in as the ultimate enforcer of justice. This has profound implications for how we understand suffering and injustice in our world. When we see evil apparently triumphing, when oppressors seem to prosper while the righteous suffer, Nahum reminds us that God sees everything. His justice may be delayed, but it's never denied. The Lion of Judah will ultimately defend His people. For believers facing persecution or oppression today, Nahum's message remains powerfully relevant. The same God who brought down the mighty Assyrian Empire is still sovereign over world powers. No earthly authority, no matter how strong or ruthless, can ultimately prevail against God's purposes for His people. The lion imagery also challenges us to consider our own relationship with power. Are we using whatever authority we have to protect the vulnerable, like God does? Or are we like the Assyrian lions, using our strength for selfish gain and oppression of others? Nahum's prophecy ultimately points us toward the greatest lion of all, Jesus Christ, who is called the Lion of the tribe of Judah in Revelation. He embodies perfectly both the fierce justice and tender mercy that Nahum's imagery represents, conquering sin and death to protect His people forever.